You're co-founder of Weave.
I am, with the amazing Janice Florence.
And you also perform with Weave.
That's correct.
Yes.
That's my main role.
How long, so you've been with Weave since it started?
Since before it started.
Since before it started, of course. So you've been part of it now for 26 years. So
correct.
You've lived through a revolution in accessibility and in societal attitudes of disability. Does it feel this way for you?
Oh, look, on reflection, if I think about it, yes, it has been a revolution, but, and you might appreciate this, one of the coping mechanisms as making my way as a disabled person in society is not to think too much about my disability or how it's not being revolutionised or is being revolutionised. I'm just making my way through society and its challenges without overthinking how disability plays a role. For example, I had a driving instructor who had one arm, and he was a perfectly good driver and a good instructor, but he didn't identify as a person with a disability, even though he only had one arm. He didn't want to see himself as disabled. Take another example, my twin sister also has cerebral palsy, but she went through the special school system, which I didn't. I went through the mainstream school system. So our experiences of disability were very different. Hers was quite institutionalised in one sense, and her education was very poor as a result of attending the special school system, and I had a much better education going through the mainstream system. So not thinking about it was one of my techniques. So asking me to reflect on it is kind of a bit of a challenge. I have been sort of around the disability community, so I do identify as being disabled, and I participated in the International Year of the Disabled in 1981, I think it was.
Wow.
So all that kind of living through the revolution, and and with the NDIS, another revolution. But what I find with these revolutions is there's still a struggle. It's not that things are made so much easier that people with disabilities can't afford to struggle. They're just struggling differently. So yes, things are improving, but no, you still have to struggle to achieve things.
Would you say that maybe people struggling with disability nowadays are doing it in a more public manner, or something? There's a lens there that wasn't there before.
I think they're allowed to struggle. That's number one, rather than being institutionalised, not being heard of, having a voice to struggle with. That's something that's changed. More of a voice, but that still people need to speak up and activate themselves to get things done. So yes, it has improved, and the politics around disability has improved, and there's more representation and people are able to achieve more, but it's not easy.
No. So I can imagine you going through mainstream school being quite, you would have been confronting to many children, many of your classmates, having you so obviously disabled would have been a confrontation for the kids.
I was a novelty.
Yeah.
To the children and to the teachers as well. So some teachers felt that making an allowance to a disabled student was something they shouldn't do, and so to maintain a standard, and you still come across that attitude. If you're going to make it, you've got to make it on their terms, and there's very little leeway. So, and also representation. I think there was one other disabled person at my high school. There was no other disabled person at my primary school that I went through. And the other disabled person that went to my high school left and ended up going to supported work at a sheltered workshop. It was called that. I'm sorry to use that term, but that was the term of the period.
Of course.
So I'm historically correct. And so, you know, his road was very different to mine. So I was able to go on to higher education and a lot more fortunate in my journey. So
did you do the same diploma as Janice?
No, I went on to go to Victorian College of the Arts, where I ended up doing an arts degree. And before that, I qualified as a primary school teacher. So I've got a bachelor in general primary school education.
Did you ever do education as a career?
I gave it a shot 1 year of teaching after I graduated, but I floundered. And that way I sort of mirror Janice's experience. She didn't, she trained as a secondary school teacher and she floundered at that too. So we both share that experience of trying to be teachers and not working out.
I don't blame you. And then you found your way to dance.
Yes.
That's wonderful. I know you've done work at Footscray Community Arts and probably many other organisations too. How have you used your arts background to assist other artists in their practice?
Oh, well, look, I think the benefit of working at Footscray Arts was that I was able to work with other disabled young adults or people sort of on an equal footing to allow them to experience a form of dance that allowed them to participate. That's number one, because we're, to use the term pedestrian movement, which I think...
it's a bit ableist, isn't it?
Oh, well, dance can be very ableist, Eva.
Oh, really?
If you start counting steps and learning the cha-cha and, you know, it's very confronting to be able to dance properly. So that's the first thing you're told as a disabled dancer, is that no, you can't dance because people's ideas of what dance are would exclude you because you wouldn't be able to do it properly to their satisfaction. But if you've got a version of dance that is not ableist and allows participation of anybody, including disabled people, to dance, because you now define dance not as counting and doing the right steps, but as any movement. So if I raise my arm like this, which to the horror of the camera people, that is a form of dancing because I'm in movement. And that's a very broad definition of dance. So if I'm able to teach that form of dance to other disabled people, then I'm empowering them to become dancers of a kind. So no, they might not learn the rumba and the cha-cha and the, you know, what's seen by the able-bodied community as dance, but they're able to move to music in a joyful and celebration kind of way. So that is dancing in my mind.
I think so too. Dance is a celebration. Is there more to be achieved in advocacy using the arts?
Yes.
And how can you see that happening?
Oh, look, the arts is a struggle for anyone to participate in, whether you're able-bodied or disabled. You know, the arts is a difficult thing to engage in at any time, and it can be political. You know, the personal can be political, and people are advocating all kinds of things through the arts all the time. Some people's art is more political than others, and some people's art is more personal than others. All arts doesn't have to be political in the way that people imagine. I don't have to go out exclusively make shows about disability and tell them what to think and all that kind of thing. Even me participating on stage and calling myself a performer is a political act.
Yeah.
That's already a political act. And like the last show I participated in, the Weave Solos, I was dancing, but in the broadest possible terms. Like I was just taking off my shoes as a form of dance, drinking a cup of tea as a form of dance. And I got nominated for a Green Room Award as most outstanding performer based on that form of dance.
And you won it, didn't you?
No, not yet either.
Oh, not yet.
But I'd like to. But,
Okay.
there are a few people who are going for it as well. But to be nominated is a thing.
That's huge.
Because I wasn't expecting that. So that means that people are recognising the broader form of dancing,
Yes.
dancing as movement, as legitimate.
Yes.
And that's a great leap forward. So that's advocacy, even that form of
Absolutely, it is. And you were speaking about how your performance included you getting up from a chair and putting your shoes on, and that wouldn't be seen in non-disabled terms as a tangible dance. But in your case,
well, it became a poetry of movement.
Wonderful.
In the show, to illustrate the themes that we're exploring, and we're using movement very deliberately to really get under the audience's armour, because audiences come to a show, they see the disabled perform and they say, "Oh, look, entertain me or prove something to me, or what are you going to, what are you going to do to?" And the audience were puzzled because they didn't know what to think. I think, what should we think about this guy putting his shoes on? What should we think about this guy struggling to get up from the floor onto a chair? I'm feeling some kind of level of compassion. Should I feel sorry? Should I feel, what should I feel? And then, so it was using disability as a way of carving into people's feelings, and theatre can be about feeling something as much as being entertained.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about exploring. It's about exploring your perceptions and
because if I'm able to get them to feel something and then to puzzle out, oh, well, how did that reflect on the themes that he was exploring? They're going to go away working out something. They're going to have something to talk about over their glass of wine.
Yes, usually after a show.
Yeah, and look, that to me is entertainment, because look, I've sat through so many shows where I felt nothing. I think, oh well, that was a year, an hour of my life that felt like a year, and I'll never get it back again. So if I can do the audience a favour of helping them to feel, then I've done something worthwhile.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Trevor. I think you've made me feel during this interview, and thank you for joining me on A New You.
Thank you for having me, Eva. It's been a pleasure.